Whenever we go to talking, you'll just kind of turn towards the mic. You can be kind of this distance away from the mic. And so Shane, if you want to scoot in a little bit, don't be afraid of your lady there.
Act like you know me. So how's the sound? Is that right? Am I right here? Okay.
Cody,
How's the sound check? Check 1, check 2.
sounds good. All right. Shane, you want to go do a check for us real quick?
Okay, can you hear me? Okay.
Awesome. Good. Great. So kind of how I want this to flow is I want to start off real quick about kind of describing who you guys are. And I want to break it down and put it on paper, right? So it's not really going to be who you guys are. It's just going to be kind of categories that you fall into.
A little like a type of personality.
Yeah. So like if we were to describe ourselves, we are a young Christian couple who have been married for 8 years.
Okay.
Right. And something we heavily value is our free time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So to describe Shane and Robbie, what does that look like? And this doesn't have to be something that you have to come up with like that. You can take some time real quick and decide on, yeah, we're going to get that guy. We got to get that guy. But so would you guys, how long have you guys been married?
18, 19 years roughly.
18. Be 18 in April. You're the one that always knows our anniversary.
We do that all
I know
the
the
time.
date. I don't know the year.
What's the date?
October 14th.
Of what? What's that date for?
Really, it's April.
Who did you marry in October?
I'm testing you, bitch. She never knows it.
I confess, I never remember our anniversary.
Yeah, we have a weird one because we got married twice. Now, we didn't get divorced or anything like that, but like I was a private in the Army, so I was completely broke, and we wanted to get married and really quickly. And so we got married with like a total of 5 people there the first time. And then a month later, we actually had a bigger get together where we had like 45 people or so show up.
Yeah.
And so when she's like, what's our anniversary, dear? How long?
This what he does because he's the one that always remembers the date.
I usually just make a joke on this because of my first wife, I got divorced on April 15th. This one, I got married on April 14th. So
Oh, my goodness.
I got married on April 14th, got divorced on April 15th.
You are Mormon for a day. You are Mormon for a single day.
Well, he likes to tell people he got married.
Different years.
Yeah, he got married on one date and divorced the next. So.
Oh, wow.
So it's funny. But yeah, I would describe us as a very...
Hardworking.
Yeah, or a hardworking couple.
Now, do you guys mean hardworking as far as like your work, your provocation?
No.
We're working to pay out some bills right now.
Yeah. We work to pay off bills. Yes.
Car.
Okay.
We probably, I would describe us as a very well-suited couple.
Yeah.
Because that old adage of opposites attract, we're very opposite on many levels. You know, whereas I'm probably, obviously the more extroverted one, the more personable one. Not that he's not personable, but he is obviously the quieter one. He's the thinker. He's the quiet waters, and he's the one that sits back and he has those, his humor is kind of like, I'm going to date myself, Jack Benny, he's kind of like a Jack Benny. He's very low key. He's very quiet, but man, he has some zingers. He'll say funny stuff just out of the blue. And just sometimes the way he says things is just hilarious. And I have a story about that later if you want. But I'd say I'd probably say one of the best matched couples because we complement each other.
Yeah.
And we have a very strong sense of respect for each other. We trust each other implicitly. And that's one thing I never thought I would do after my first marriage. I thought they're all alike. They're never, no. And he shows up to just prove me wrong. But
How so?
well, I'm going to try to give you the really short version. My mother,
Or you can give it a longer.
okay. My mother was dealing with cancer. And that's a whole other story. But eventually it turned to a hospice situation. And we were just kind of chit-chatting. And you say the things that you need to say and you communicate the love and it's what it is. And you kind of run out of things to say. And so you're kind of sitting there twiddling your thumbs going, and so I thought I would be cute and say, Mom, would you do me a favor? And she said, what's that? I said, when you get up to heaven, would you have a chat with whoever's in charge up there and just tell them if they got somebody lined up for me, just send them my way, because either fish or cut bait. Because you know, I've been single for 16 years after a first marriage. And so I was like, I was happy being single, but I was kind of like, I wonder if there's somebody out there for me, And so she says, okay, I will. I said, okay, I will. Well, to preface that a little bit, she had always encouraged me to make friends, as she called it. And her that was her euphemism for online dating.
Yeah.
Now, back then, online dating was still kind of like under the table.
A little bit taboo.
A little bit shady. It was a little bit suspicious, and people didn't really, understand how it worked. And she would always say, have you made any friends? Because I was out there trying just about everything. And I said, no, Mom, I've been busy with you. And she's like, now I want you to go out there. And she's, what's that one website, eHarmony? Isn't that one? I said, Mom, that's one of a million of them. She's like, I want you to join it. And I'm like, I was very resistant. I was like, Mom, I'm not in the mood. No, this is not the time. And she's like, no, I'll pay for it. I was like, no, you're not paying for it. And I said, fine, I'll join it just to hush her up. So that's that. So she passed in 2005 in January. And you go through what you go through when you lose a loved one like that, your parent. And finally, I was just kind of checking my emails. And all of a sudden, this ad pops up in my inbox, join eHarmony. Oh, and I was like...
It kept happening.
Yeah, it did. And it deleted it, And 2 or 3 times it kept coming in. And finally, I was like, And sure enough, I thought...
Sign from God.
It was. I or her. I think she and him had a chat. But she said she was going to do something, and I really do feel in my heart she did. I actually signed up. Now I say this, he says otherwise. I signed up thinking I just want to meet somebody that doesn't want to ask, how are you doing? How are you feeling? I just wanted to talk about the weather and, movies and fun stuff. I didn't really want to talk about Mom. So I joined up and I met him and another fellow, and I thought he was actually kind of weird when I met him at first.
Too quiet for you?
Well, he was just odd. He was just peculiar, is what
She just called you odd. How does it make you feel?
We were limited to like 40 characters.
And his first initial message was one long run-on sentence with no punctuation and everything.
Like a real man, because we don't know punctuation.
Punctuation requires characters, but you can't use for talking.
Yeah. And so anyway, the other guy seemed a little bit more normal, so I went out with him first, and then he ended up being kind of different. And I thought, well, if he's different, maybe the different one is more my cup of tea. So I gave him a fair shake, and
At least I drove a car.
you did drive a car. The other guy did drive a car. It was, there were signs.
Bicycle.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, it was fun. But we started dating, and I call it kind of crash course dating thing. And I remember thinking, and everyone was like, Robbie, are you going to be okay? Because, you're on a rebound, you're emotionally vulnerable, obviously.
We met at Chili's the first time.
We met at Chili's.
Okay.
And what time did you show up there?
About 10 minutes before you got there.
Okay. Probably he got there a little early, if the truth be told.
Punctuality is
So that's one thing I
Punctuality as far as time goes, but not in a sentence.
Yeah, I appreciated
No
that.
no punctuation.
So anyway, we had talked for like
a month.
a month on the phone. So we had the chance to just get to know each other as people.
Yeah.
And my big thing was, this is what you see is what you get. This is what I look like. Because a lot of times a gentleman that I went out with and some just guys, we didn't connect on that the level. We might connect on a personality, but they just didn't. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. So, because I asked him, I'm like, now you see what I look like? And what'd you say?
Said, you're pretty.
There we go. Absolutely.
So I was like, all right, we'll see how that goes. So we decided to finally meet because I wanted to get some time between dealing with my mom's passing and the business of that. And I wanted to kind of keep things separate. And so we met at Chili's. And there were 2 things he did on this meeting. Now, this was our first physical meeting. 2 things he did. The first thing, I pull up And he's out by his truck, standing there with a sack in his hand. And I thought,
At Chili's.
at Chili's.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, what's he got? He's trying to impress me. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, right, sure. I get out of the car and I walk over there. He had made homemade bread
Okay.
by hand. This was a guy that I was interested in all of a sudden.
I like bread.
I'm telling you, you can cook and bread. Are you kidding me? You're winning me over.
There you go.
Really fast. So that won me over.
So, real quick, you showed up on the first date at Chili's and you brought food
Right.
For me.
for her to just take like a parting gift.
Yeah.
It seemed logical.
We're a different generation, obviously,
Yeah.
right? So is that normal?
No.
That wasn't normal.
No, it wasn't
Okay,
normal.
that wasn't like
was very
you
unique.
bring a girl a gift on the first date.
And, it's like the traditional things like flowers or candies or a little sentimental thing like that. But bread, that's unique.
I love that.
I was hooked right there. He hooked me really quick with that. I was like, ooh, this man
And
like,
it tasted good too.
and it was homemade bread. I mean, how can you go wrong, right?
Right.
Well, I've actually just recently started making bread homemade. It's not so easy, but yeah, I do. I'm gonna need some
You need to
pointers.
come over.
You need to learn how to
can
knead
show you.
it better.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it because mine it's just coming out too thick, too dense.
Yeah.
I feel like I can
No.
bludgeon somebody with my loaf.
Less flour, more water.
Yeah.
It's so this.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
He makes Italian bread too. So it's like, so good. And then, so we go on in and we get that physical hello kind of meeting out of the way. And we sit down, have lunch, and we're chatting, making small talk and kind of picking up where we left off. And then you asked, remember what you asked?
I asked you, would you like to go see somebody at a concert with me?
It's like,
And with Sarah McLaughlin, she was coming to town.
I was like, sure, I'll go to concert. So not only did he ask me for an actual date, but he eliminated that anxiety that everybody has at the end of a date when you're dating somebody.
For the first
Is this gonna happen
First time,
again?
is he going to call me?
Yeah.
He's going to call me, but he's not going to call me. He just blew that out of the water because when we left, I knew that whole pressure and anxiety of worrying about, does he like me? Will he call? It's gone.
Yeah.
Not a bit of, I was like, oh, he likes me. He wants to see me again. Oh, cool. And it's like, I didn't have anything to worry about,
Okay.
Yeah.
which I thought was probably, that's when he reeled me in with that. He was like, oh, okay, he's got me. Because those are the two smoothest move I would tell anybody who's out there like dating or looking to date, not that this is not dating, but that was probably the beginning of the courtship, and that he showed himself being very unique and very special, very exceptional, which appealed to me a lot. And then we just basically did what I called speed dating for 6 months. And
went to many places.
remember what we did?
Son, not at all.
It was a blur, wasn't it?
Remember going to Six Flags?
Hey, there we go. That's a good date.
I got him on his first roller coaster.
Oh wow. At what age?
48, 49 maybe.
There we go. Look at you doing new things.
Yeah.
With this girl you like.
Yeah.
Scary as hell.
Oh yeah.
But we had a good time. But yeah, we did the biking, we did the zoo, we went to festivals, we just did the typical datey date stuff where you just start getting to know somebody. And I think in the dating spectrum of getting to know him, I think that's really pivotal in establishing a long-term relationship with a partner. You really need to see them like at all hours of the day.
Yeah.
Like you need to see each other sick.
Yeah.
And you need to maybe take a trip together and kind of see what somebody's like first thing in the morning, see what they're like. Because let's face it, when you're getting to know somebody, you put your best face forward and you don't burp or anything. And you don't do anything wrong. And then all of a sudden you have to get to that point where you start relaxing and you're like, okay, I'm letting my guard down and this is me. Okay. And you start kind of sharing that real personality of who you really are and getting to know you. And I think that's what we did. We just fast tracked it, really. We did it fast because I think he had been married previously and I had been married previously.
Yeah.
So he was ticking all my boxes as far as what was nice to me, because I said, well, I'm glad you don't smoke. And we neither one of us had children, which wasn't a deal breaker for either one of us. However, it was just something like, okay, that's something we have in common.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just something that kind of, okay, that works with us.
I used to smoke. I smoked
Yeah.
for 17 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
But I quit at age 33. 33 or 34 roughly. And I have a smoke.
That was well before you guys met.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I wouldn't talk to him if he was a smoker.
I'm the same way. I'm just not interested. Not to say that there's no good smokers out there that are catches, but I'm just not
Lovely
interested.
people out there who do smoke, and I'm not saying anything against people in general.
Right.
It's just that the smoking aspect is just something that was for a serious long-term marriage, environment, relationship. No, that was not going to be up for me. It was just, like I say, I knew what I wanted and I knew what I didn't want.
Yeah. I can imagine if both people smoked and it wouldn't maybe
Yeah.
matter as much, but
Perhaps. Yeah. And again, but that was just for us. And I think that was important, knowing he knew what he wanted and I knew what I wanted and we knew what we didn't want.
yeah.
So I think that's important.
That's a good question. What did you not want?
I didn't want a lot of drama.
Okay.
I wanted somebody that I felt like was trustworthy.
Most guys are not dramas.
Well, for the most part.
You dated one that was.
Yeah, I've dated a lot of ones that were.
So would you say peace, maybe?
I'd say very at peace with themselves. He was a gentleman from day one, still is to this day. I think when you're getting to know somebody at the beginning of a relationship, how they treat you, how you treat each other, I should say, because I think in the beginning, when you treat your man like a king, he treats you like a queen. I think you got a pretty good setup.
Okay. What does that mean?
I think honoring each other in a Christian mindset. I think honoring each other in a trusting. I think not taking each other for granted. That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Is respecting each other. You have to have a mutual respect for each other. And I don't know. I'm kind of. What else can you add to that?
Basically, putting their needs as important as your own. So they're kind of more important. They're equal. So you got to kind of match both at the same time. Don't worry just about just what you want, but you got to kind of like build it together so that you both get something out of the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like real respect, not like we respect each other's boundaries and stuff like that. No, you sound like you respected everything.
You have to live it. It's talk is cheap, as they say. A good example is when we watch TV at night, we will take turns.
Yeah.
Like he'll watch one of his shows and they'll say, okay, your turn. He hands over the remote to me and I'm like, I'll watch something for the show. And we just swap back and forth. And then sometimes we decide on something together. Like if there's a movie you want to watch this together? Okay, yeah, sure. So it's not just, it's all about me or it's all about him.
Or I'll do the dishes sometimes without you knowing it.
That's a different level. That's a surprise.
That might as well be foreplay. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And the funny thing about the dishes, that's kind of a spot with it's funny. This is over the years. And I want to get to another point here in a second. I have my way. They say in every couple, there is one person who loads the dishwasher like a Swedish architect and another one that loads it like a raccoon on drugs.
Oh, gosh. The fact that I don't know which one I am scares me, actually.
Well, and the thing is, I have my way of loading the dishwasher. And yet, when he loads the dishwasher, I do not say anything.
You read and do it sometimes. Like just really gloss here.
Well, sometimes. But for the most part, I take that as it's a gesture of love. It's a gesture of doing something for me, and I think that's important too.
Good for me too, because they're my dishes as well. I like clean dishes as well as you.
Yes, this is true.
There we go.
This is true. And the other day I was commenting on him over the years, looking back on when we got married, which is like say our anniversary is coming up. You think about, we were talking about how people change, and I am not the same person when I met him now, and he's not the same person either.
Yeah.
We have changed probably more than we care to acknowledge.
Yeah.
Change is a good thing. It means you can evolve. You're not set in like a set of rigid customs and rules that you must follow by. You can adjust as you see that there's a need to adjust, or there's a good reason to say this is better in that way, so we're going to do the better method.
Yeah. So you guys learn together and grow together.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's crucial to a relationship because we all change and evolve. Let's face it, you're different in your 20s than you are in your 30s than you are in your 40s and so on. So you do change. Your priorities change. Your preferences change. That music is too darn loud for me now. That kind of thing.
We walked out of
the way,
the concert, actually.
She proved her love to me. I took her to a Korn concert, and she actually went with me.
Oh,
She
wow.
hated it, but I was digging it. But she didn't know.
You went to a Korn concert. I need to know what kind of guy you are. You don't strike me as going to Korn.
He's very interesting.
Wow.
As I'm saying, there's a lot there's many layers to him. There's really many layers to him. Because I remember when we first started dating, he was even quite, this is loud for him. Okay, this is very gregarious for him right now. I remember telling him, I said, I can tell our work is cut out. I am going to get you to loosen up and laugh out loud and be a little bit more relaxed. And that's my mission, is to get you to relax and calm down.
Yeah.
And his mission was to calm me down, because I was one of those, and I would react to everything. And so that's where we've been so awesome for each other over the years, is that I noticed the other day, I was like driving the speed limit and nobody made me irritated in traffic. And I know, wow, this is awesome. Because he's helped encourage me through the years, like, let's slow down. We're not in a hurry. He has a very loving way of putting it. Instead of complaining about it, he presents it. Sometimes it's all how you present and communicate to each other. And he actually guffaws now when he really gets tickled and he laughs out loud, which is really hard to believe.
What was the word you just used? What was the word you just used? He guffaws?
Guffaw.
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 Means to laugh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm learning. I'm learning a word right now.
Google guffaw.
Okay, spell that for me, because
Guffaw. Guffaw.
G-U-F-F.
It's an old.
I haven't heard that word before. That's awesome.
That's great.
That's good.
But yeah, but I can tell, like, when I see something on the news, perhaps it just annoys me or irritates me because stupidity makes me mad.
Yeah.
Especially preventable stupidity. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'll just, and he'll like, now, dear, and he plays the devil's advocate, and he'll say, now, we don't know the situation, we don't know all the facts, and da da da. And I'm like,
Can everybody just think like you do?
that's right. That's right. And I always say, well, if they did, the world would be a great place. But he does. He centers me more. And I tend to kind of expose, like, say, roller coasters. He never had done that kind of thing before. So I brought things to his world that he never would probably have ever done or considered. But he's really mellowed me out. I think he's given me a lot more maturity, a lot more patience, more than anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've noticed the other day, I was like, man, we've really changed for the better, because we were talking about what was important in our relationship and our marriage, and I think it's communication first and foremost. And it sounds so cliche.
Right.
Everybody says that.
But why is it a cliche?
It's because it's true.
Yeah.
And it's not just necessarily sitting down and having, okay, we need to have a talk. It's how you communicate. Sometimes it's nonverbal. Sometimes it's gestures. It's acts. That's a communication. Like when he does the dishes for me. Oh my gosh, when I come home the other
I didn't do it for you. I did it for myself.
But when he does or cleans the kitchen, or he does laundry, or does housework, because I primarily do that just because I had the time and the means to do that.
Yeah, she's retired now.
Yeah. And so, but when he does do those things, was it year before last, he was working all day, and we had kind of gone back, but do you want to decorate for Christmas? A lot, we were just kind of like, oh, you got to get the tubs down, you got to put the tree up. You saw all this work.
A lot of work to it.
And it's just us, if we had kids and family, and it would be different. And we were just kind of going back and forth. So I just kind of, a little bing went off in my head, and I was like, so I got it. And so when he went to work, I crawled up and I got all the Christmas stuff down, decorated the house all up all day long, got everything set up. So when he came in, it was all Christmassy for him.
Because you could tell just through his just passive existence towards that idea, he didn't want to do it. You just weren't into it.
I wanted it, but I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, I'd love to enjoy the spoils of it.
Yeah.
But just there's so much effort to it, and so you took the initiative on that, and you went and made it happen.
It's things like that. I would challenge couples to examine your partner in sense of pay attention to cues and things like they say things, and that doesn't mean like, if you say, oh, gee, I really like those diamond earrings, that doesn't mean he needs to go out and buy those earrings, because
You think that.
you might think that, yeah. And I wouldn't mind you.
They're your best friend.
But I would say it's a study in your partner, in that when you really get to know them and their their likes, their dislikes, their tastes, like what they like. Like even if it's just like I don't cook, he's the cook. Like I say, he made the.
Well, she did to make me happy. So
Yeah, I do.
She did that.
Yeah, I did to make him happy, and that's what it's about in respecting your partner, appreciating your partner. And so when you do these little surprise acts, I kind of treat them as challenges. I don't do them all the time because that way they mean more when it's totally from out of left field. They're not expecting it. So I think when you can kind of know your partner, not just as a husband or a wife, but if you know them as a person and know what their passions are, what do they really, or something specific to your lifestyle. Like if there's something that this person always does and say, you know what, I'm going to do it for them this time and just surprise them. And it hits because you remember stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that's important for couples to not just, like I say, it's about the communication, but that's a nonverbal type of act that you can do for your partner in a loving way that reinforces that connection and bond that you have.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing. It really is, because when you can take somebody and get to know them on a level where, not that I don't really know him. Some days it's like, who are you?
Yeah.
What happened to my husband? Who are you? But
You like minions.
I am. But he does things out of left field, like he does things like when he does the grocery shopping, because I hate to shop. And so he'll go shopping and he'll bring me home a little treat. Like, I brought you, so it's a little surprise. It's the tiny littlest thing. It's just like you ever heard of, like, it's the little things. Like, it's just little things. And it's like, oh yeah, remember that time you did this? Or it doesn't have to be huge, elaborate, big, huge surprise. I'm just talking like daily stuff.
Yeah.
Like just, I'd say study your partner in the sense of like, kind of just pay attention to them. And I think that's what we do. We pay attention to each other a lot. We like, I know your routine. I know your habits pretty well. And you know mine. Wouldn't you say? What's the first thing I like to do in the morning?
Drink your coffee.
That's right.
Yeah.
See?
Like a sane person.
That's right. Well, yeah, who wouldn't? But I mean, we just know each other pretty well. And we're always learning about each other. Like, man, I didn't know you like that. Oh yeah. So there's always surprises, and be open to, like I said, we talked about change, be open to change.
Have to be open to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can't be talked into anything, and you're rigid, and all of a sudden there's fights.
Right.
Because you can't evolve to see what the other person's trying to prove to you or show you or challenge you to change your own, because there's a need to change sometimes.
Shane, what are some of the ways that you've changed throughout y'all's marriage?
I'm less extreme liberal than I used to be.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I feel like that's the entire world for sure, right? Like, well, maybe not the entire world, but most. Yeah, right. Okay. And so did you guys kind of start off, because you mentioned that you guys were kind of opposites. Did you guys start off, because this is something that I think is important for couples, is to maybe not perfectly align politically or religiously perfectly, but in the same ballpark maybe. What would you guys say about that?
Yeah. What do you think?
I came her way, she's came my way. I'm more central now than we used to be.
Yeah.
Both of us are a lot more centered in the center.
Okay.
As opposed to being on either extreme.
And how did that happen?
Arguing.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
Cool. Like some knockdown, drag out, like, no, you're going to listen to what I have to say here, or what?
No knockdowns, but some bad feelings from time to time. Yep.
And it's normal. It's okay to be different. And that's, there's that saying, if two people agree on everything all the time, then one of them isn't necessary.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why, opposites, not only can it be a blessing, but it's also an opportunity to hear another input from a perspective that doesn't think like you do.
Absolutely.
And when you grow up thinking, well, this is the way it should be, this is, how it goes.
It's hard to change.
It's hard to change.
Oh, absolutely.
And so that's
You've been to have this ingrained in you.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's one of the reasons that marriage itself is such a crazy thing, because you're taking two people from two completely different backgrounds, probably from two completely different places, and you're trying to meld your lives together. And at the moment of marriage, right, you say, until death do us part. And we don't really know what that means.
Yeah.
Like, we don't really know, like, the ways that we're going to change, or like, you don't know every single part of that person's, mindset, theology about themselves or about the world around them. And you guys started kind of from some pretty
We really did.
separate places.
We really did.
And marriage is crazy like that. And so, like, you guys kind of like started different politically. Where'd you guys start like theologically?
Both her and I are kind of like, we're not necessarily buying into the, I call them most Christian philosophies, cults.
Yeah. Well, we kind of are in this in a similar way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was raised in a traditional Disciples of Christ Christian home, you know, where it wasn't like radical or polarized one way or necessarily doctrine, but it was a Christian upbringing and Christian faith, baptized and everything. So everything, I was good. You know, it's like
Same. So
we were all in.
I learned better after time.
Well, you learn. I mean, and the thing of it is, in religion and faith, I kind of look at it in my theology class in college. I remember one of our college professors said, because we were asking, you know, what came first, dinosaurs or Adam and Eve? You know, you're having that conversation. And I think the professor said something very profound. And I've always remembered it. He said that the thing is, people want a linear explanation for everything. You want a beginning, middle, and you want to understand everything in black and white. And the Bible, when you're even studying the Bible, it's not that. That's not what it is.
No, it's really not.
It's a book of faith written by many, many people over many, many years. And it's lessons, and basically I look at it as more of a guide to follow in terms of how to live your life and be the best person that God wants you to be.
Yeah.
You know, and this man is the most. This was another thing in our courtship. He would do things that told me his spirit was a good Christian spirit. When we were dating, we went to Brahms, and he went in to get us hamburgers and everything. He walked out, and there was a stray dog by the door. And he reached in the bag and he gave that dog half of his hamburger.
Oh.
Just
You could tell he's showing his ribs on, you know, he's hungry.
and he's a charitable, the most selfless man I've ever met. And yet he's skeptical and cynical enough about a lot of scam things that go on that he's going, I don't know who to trust. And, you know, so finding worthwhile causes and things to support has always, you know, been something that we like to do, but we want to be very cautious on the other side. So,
And not enable people that are going to con us or use it for drugs or prostitutes or whatever.
Right. I think the best signs I ever see from people who are on the side of the roads is like, I just need some pot. You know, like a really honest thing. I'm gonna buy a Coke and an ounce. Okay, like I just need you to know.
But yeah, so I think in terms of faith, I think we're both in a we still have a little bit of differences, and that's the thing. It's okay to still have a little bit of differences, and you don't have to be just totally aligned. The important thing is
That's boring. Can you imagine being completely the same on everything? Yeah. No friction ever.
There's nothing to talk about.
Well, and that's what I think, where people think, oh, we have to be perfectly, you know, the stereotype cookie cutter husband and no.
Yeah.
You can be you, and they can be them, but allow yourself a little bit of differences. And because I think what was a note I had is that it's in evolving into a relationship together, it's important to have time to yourself and not lose yourself in the marriage. In fact, that's what I think happened in my first marriage, was that Robbie got lost in it. You know, I didn't really have an identity. I didn't have a life. I didn't have hobbies. I didn't have my own thing that I did that's Robbie, you know. Yeah. This has been incredible marriage because he shows his love by supporting whatever I do.
Yeah.
He's my biggest fan. He's got my back. He's my rock when it comes to stuff like that. He's like,
I don't have to control you while you're doing it.
No. Yeah. No. I mean, there's times when there's events or something that I'm going to go to, and he, bless his heart, he'll just stay in the corner and just have a Coke or whatever. Yeah. and he'd be like, so he's like, you know what? You just go ahead and go. You're going to be flitting around the room. He says, I'll be okay here. I'm like, are you sure? Because I don't want him to feel like I don't want him involved.
Right.
Yet on the other hand, I don't want to force him to do something he doesn't want to do.
I went to your French club the other night.
Yeah, you did.
I had fun there.
Yeah.
You go to French club
for her birthday.
That's awesome. That sounds fun.
That was.
That wasn't the detective thing, right? Or the mystery looking thing.
No. That's something different. Actually, we went.
You guys do so many fun things.
She's real good at French.
Yeah. Man, no.
I don't. What'd she say? Yeah. You're the French one. What'd she say?
Let's see what else. But the other thing I was going to mention is that it's really important for couples to remember to have time for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to be joined at the hip 24/7. I think that's what drives people crazy is they feel like they have to be around each other all the time. And I think that's why he has his freedom to go do his stuff, whatever he wants to do. Not that we don't do things together, because we do.
I don't do that much because I don't have time.
Yeah,
When I'm
well,
off,
he's-
I like to do nothing.
Yeah, when he's off, he does his thing, or he'll watch his movies and shows that he likes. And I really
I'm
don't.
trying to play the piano, but not very
Yeah,
good yet.
Okay.
He's been trying to practice piano and do that, and I think it's wonderful, and I support him in that.
You're learning French, you're learning the piano. So you guys aren't just growing together, you're growing on your own as well.
Exactly.
That's really good.
Well, and I think it's important for couples to consider that in their marriage, is that it's okay to go do your own thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, the marriage isn't going anywhere.
And I'm not jealous because I was married to a jealous woman.
Yeah.
And it's miserable.
It is.
You can't imagine how.
Yeah, I
Just
got
really
I got over being jealous a long time ago. I've even threatened to rent him out for for handyman work. For he's like, you need a husband, I can rent him out for you.
Are you a good handyman?
And I could perform all the husbandly duties.
There you go.
No. Yeah.
That's
He even mows the yard.
he does. He likes to mow the yard, fix faucets, all that.
That's probably one of the reasons we sold our house, because I mowed the yard like once every 3 months.
There you go. Well, but yeah, I would encourage couples to don't be afraid to be your own person and explore and evolve as a person, because when you do that, you're a happy married person. When you're a happy married person.
Yeah.
It's just like when you find contentment and peace in your heart and your soul, you do those things that give you joy.
Yeah.
That it comes out your pores.
The trick is to find the right person, though.
It is.
You can marry the wrong person.
Yeah.
It's miserable beyond belief.
Yeah, we both married the wrong people.
So we knew the red flags to look for on the second marriage because we went through those on the first and never again.
Well, and that was kind of our advantage, I think, we had going into it, because we knew, like I said, we knew what we didn't want.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want this.
Had you guys both had a lot of relationships before that first marriage?
And then after I got divorced, I went through a series of other girls, and you know about them. But
What girls?
You ever looked at a different woman besides Robbie Shane?
well, no.
That's right. Right answer. Good job.
That's right. That's right.
But I learned from them as well about how to be better. So,
Yeah.
And so even though we didn't work out, I still learned how to become a better person because of them.
That's a real leadership capability that I've been seeing a lot of things. I listen to a lot of leadership, like self-betterment things, and like being able and willing to learn from even the people you don't like or you didn't end up working out with. That's big. That's a big deal.
I consider my first marriage like my basic training, because I'd never lived with a guy.
Yeah.
That was like, well, that was a unique experience. Like, oh, well, that's new.
Yeah.
And so you learn things. But yeah, you kind of know what you have more of a sense, and that's why it's difficult. Not that first marriages can't work, because they do.
Yeah.
Most of them, half of them do.
And a lot of them do. Excuse me. But I think it was an advantage we had, that we both had that experience of being married. Because like when you have someone that's been married and someone that hasn't, it can be awkward because that person's trying to figure things out. But we were veterans, so we
Yeah.
kind of knew.
Yeah. I imagine if you're in a relationship where one person's been married and the other person hasn't, that person who hasn't is probably in their own mind. Hopefully not, but I imagine they are comparing themselves like, man, am I as good as that last guy?
Right.
Am I as good as that last gal? Like, what did they do better? I've got to step myself up, which can be a good motivator maybe, but I imagine probably worse off than.
Yeah, really, I think, again, it goes back to knowing yourself.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people really don't know themselves. They don't know what they want.
Yeah. Well,
People
it's
don't
hard to
know-
figure out, isn't it?
People don't know what they want.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what you want, what do you not want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start with that list.
Yeah, for sure.
You really, that's kind of a template to kind of help in that situation, because there's things that I had to have somebody with a sense of humor. That's the first thing out of the gate. Oh my gosh, we have inside jokes. We have movie quotes. We have show lines that we quote all the time.
And I talked to him and seen Robin Williams live. So
Yes.
You talked her into seeing Robin Williams?
Yes.
I thought you were just in love with the man since you were born.
I was.
Uh-huh.
I am, and I have been. When he came to Tulsa, again, this is the gesture of love and
Yeah.
sacrifice and support. Perfect example, because I was very resistant. I was like, oh man, it was like
it was money.
$200. It was like some money that we didn't have at the
Yeah.
time. And I was like, man, I don't know. And I was just, I don't know why I was so resistant. It was just like, oh, we really can't afford it. I'm trying to be faithful to our budget and all that. And he was like,
You live once. You get one chance, and you'll never get it again if you don't do it now.
Yeah.
And he died about 3 years after that.
Yeah.
He did
Goodness gracious.
because he had a heart attack right
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, he was right before he had his heart surgery. It's like 2 weeks, and then he had his heart
So
surgery.
you didn't do a thing.
So-
You
Oh yeah, I would never. And so thanks to him, if it wasn't for him, I would never have met Robin Williams. So that's what I'm saying.
She went backstage and visited with him, and
Yeah, I got to see those pictures. So
she was a picture.
Yeah,
that's such a big deal.
it was an amazing experience. I'll take
Good job, Jay.
Yeah,
Good job.
But that's the kind of level of, and bless his heart, we had tickets and he sat like in row 55 back in the back, and I was on the third row.
You're like, look, I'll pay $700 for you to be on the front row, but I'm sitting back here in the $35 seats.
Fun all the same.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
We had a great evening, and it was great. But yeah, it's those kinds of things that when you know your partner,
Yeah.
it circles back to that. No,
You were the second or third row back.
yeah, I was. I was like the third
Real
row.
close.
Yeah, but yeah, it's stuff like that.
She said his ours are like fairy is like a,
Yeah, the first thing I remember when he came out, I just sat there for 5 minutes. He started his routine and his act, and he was going and blowing, and I was like, "Good grief, he's short." Yeah, he's really short, and I never.
But isn't he like 5'5" or something?
He was like 5'7".
5'7". Okay.
Yeah, if you look at the picture of me and him, he's like this, and I'm like right here.
Wow.
So that kind of blew me away. I expected more. You don't know what you expect. You don't see your celebrities, and it's like, well, yeah, they are people.
Especially people you really like.
Yeah, well, and you see them on the screen all the time.
Yeah.
And you're like,
but there were short people to make them look like they're tall.
yeah.
Right. That's what I need to do more of. I hang out with way too many tall people.
Yeah. Yeah.
5'4". I gotta get some tall people or short people around me.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely been challenges and tests throughout our time together. I think couples should do things like,
Just agree. Sometimes just agree to disagree and go on,
Yeah.
but don't make it a big issue of it
yeah.
because it'll resolve itself later down the road.
Okay.
But it's never good to resolve an issue when you're mad.
Yeah.
It's better off just to leave it alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
We really don't have that much in him. And we really
No.
could probably, there's times, let's face it. When you're living with somebody, I don't care if it's a parent-child, roommate situation, brother, sister, whatever, you're going to butt heads from time to time. Just because that's the very nature of being around someone all the time. It's just, we're people. It's what we do.
Yeah.
And I think it's important is learn that when you have a disagreement, like he said, agree to disagree. Say, you know what, I don't know if I buy what you're saying because I believe what I believe, dadgummit. I'm not going to be swayed. But at the end of the day, even though we don't fight dirty, we don't name call, we don't.
So once you say something, you're mad, you can never unsay it again. It's out there forever.
Yeah.
You can't take it back. Better off not to say it to begin with.
Yeah. And but the most important thing is no matter what the disagreement's about, is to always apologize.
Yeah.
And both people apologize, because when you end a conflict or a debate or argument over, if you just say, you know what, I didn't understand what you meant by that, and when you're calmed down, if you have to go to separate corners, do that. That's what I have to do because I'm, Miss Volcano, so I go off. So I have to just to keep him from getting burnt. I just walk away. All right, I need to go calm down because I know me.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to knowing who you are and knowing how, okay, this is how I deal with this. So I need to go calm down.
Yeah.
Okay. So calm down and then come back and talk and say, all right, this is how I understood the situation to be.
Don't pout and say you're sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just say, you know what, I don't mean to upset you. I'm sorry. And both of us say, I'm sorry, even if I was right.
I later believe that.
So even if you're right, even apologize.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
What do you apologize for? Do you just say the words "I'm sorry," or do you say "I'm
usually-
sorry for"?
I usually say, I'm sorry for not understanding your point of view. I'm sorry I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't. And I, even though I may not, we may further the conversation, say, no, can you explain to me again? Now that I'm kind of calm and I get that you're coming from a different direction, tell me why or elaborate on this.
So
Educate me.
why are you apologizing in the first place?
If we don't go to bed mad.
Yeah.
You're apologizing because there was some negativity involved in this, and you're trying to get rid of it.
Okay. Because you can imagine that you're probably
Because negativity ain't so nothing to work.
really bad.
It'll exacerbate if you don't try to stop it.
Yeah.
There comes a point when you cannot stay in a constant state of agitation. Again, we're humans. It happens. But it's like a car or a rocket. It's got to eventually run out of gas. And you can't maintain that angst.
Yeah.
Not much better than 2 hours.
At least. Is that a record? I don't know.
I liked. I heard something a while back, and I think it's really funny that if you're gonna fight naked.
There you go.
You know,
That's a good idea. I like that idea.
I mean, first of all, you're naked, so there's always a chance, right? But it's like I'm no longer mad. I can't be mad if you're naked, you know. But no, but also just like really exposing yourself is kind of I think what it gets down to.
Well, it makes you think about other things too. So it's
Yeah,
it's like
I can change my attitude real quick.
Well, they always say you should learn how to fall. Like if you were like if you're do like skateboarding or whatever, you learn how to fall.
Yeah.
You need to learn how to argue.
Yeah,
You need to learn how there is a technique to it. And because emotions are involved and your position is challenged and by golly, I'm right no matter what. Now we have a thing that when we have a disagreement, he will say a statement and I'll say, that's not correct.
that sounds familiar.
He'll say, I think it is.
uh-huh.
And I'll say, no, it's not. And if
And they're still gonna Google and try to prove me wrong. So.
well, usually I go get documentation. Like I have it in the file cabinet or I've got pictures or something. I'll say, here,
How many times?
there it is.
Your Honor, I'd like to submit to the jury.
That's exactly it. Now, there are those times and I've told him, this is our kind of the status quo. It's like, if I will bet him, I'll say, do you want to bet?
Oh no.
That's code for, I know I'm right, and I'm not going to back down for quite a while. Now, if he hears that, he knows he's got a fight on his hand. But if he says something and I don't know, I might be 75% sure I'm right, but I'm not 100%.
No,
I'm not really sure. I could be wrong. That's the other thing. We've learned to say that. I could be wrong. I say that. Then he'll press it. And that it can get kind of comical at times, when we press it like that.
Yeah.
And then in the end, who really cares if you're right or wrong?
That's it.
Yeah.
Because you're both going to bed at the end of the night together, and who cares about the fight?
I win.
Or the disagreement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that all you got there?
Let me see what else I had.
I want to make sure you get through all yours before I start.
Let me see what I got. Everything else. Okay. We talked about surprises, accepting your differences, be opening to evolve, sense of humor. Yeah, learning how to argue. Pick your battles. Just pick your battles.
Yeah.
Most battles are not worth even trying because unless it's really life and death, who really cares?
Oh, another thing, probably the last thing I think I've covered pretty much everything.
I'll let you have that one.
And under the communication banner, it's not just being able to talk about your feelings about, how was your day, dear? That kind of a thing. You need to be able to sit down and do budgets together.
Ooh, adult stuff.
Grown-up married people things. And a lot of couples, finances are touchy, when you're blending money together.
My sister does all in her head, and according to her, it's perfect because she's always broke. So
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. That's how it goes.
And I would dare say probably one of the most
she
romantic.
makes better money than I do.
Yeah.
It's easy to be broke even when you have money.
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost easier.
I would dare say one of the most romantic things, this is going to sound so weird, but one of the most romantic things is for us to sit down. We almost do it on a daily basis sometimes. We'll sit down with our little Excel spreadsheet and we look at our budget and we make
We
projections.
have formulas everywhere.
He's an Excel nerd. He's a nerd.
Okay.
He's a nerd, so he does that. And we look at our budget and our finances. We go, oh, look, we're going to pay this off. We're going to do this. And okay, well, and we just sit there. We talk about our money like it's,
This is coming in, this is going out.
and
This,
it's
this is
weird.
money extra for us.
But it's weird, but it's kind of like it works for us because I think couples that don't talk about money, religion, politics, money, I think those are the top three things that you guys need to be on at least the same block, if not the same house on in terms of
And neither one of us spend a lot of money on stupid stuff without consulting the other to do it.
that's part of the communication. That's another part of the communication because it bleeds into the finances is that I'm like, if something comes up, I'm like, man,
If it's $20 now, if it's 300,
That's what I was going to ask real specifically.
Yeah.
What is a crazy amount of money?
anything more than $100.
yeah.
Okay. That's a real fair.
Like if we go out to eat, like if I go out to eat with friends or something, that's
Because you're both adults. If you're a Hobby Lobby, you're not going to be like, oh man, I really want this picture frame. I need to ask,
yeah, it's not that because again, that goes back to the trust. I trust him, he trusts me because we know each other pretty well that we know that. A lot of the journey of getting to know somebody during a long time is, like I say, learning it's an ongoing thing. You're always learning about that person. But yeah, the money thing is a huge thing for us because I didn't have that in my first marriage, and I ended up going through bankruptcy.
What did it look like? Did it look like he controlled all the finances and you
came from a
left in the north?
Well, actually, he went out and got credit cards and charged up bills, and I tried paying them. That's what it was. And we tried to do a business venture that just, we had no idea what we were doing. Everything just imploded. It just was bad. And so I learned from that. But I was getting there. I was learning on my own before I met him. And then when we kind of got together, and
I taught you better when you met me.
yeah, you did. and that has evolved. You know,
I have an accounting degree behind me.
yeah, you do.
Oh, wow.
So he's a nerd.
You got to the right guy then. Holy cow.
Cooks and does math.
And listens to Korn. So, come on.
Right?
My first concert was Black Sabbath
Oh, wow.
in 1976.
You're dating yourself, dude.
I mean, a little bit, but it's okay. It's good music still today. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's the other thing is that you talk about differences. He's the music person. He likes music in realms that he'll say, "Do you know the band Pink Flamingo?" And I'll be like, "No." And he's like, "Well, they're a really good band." And he starts telling me about them. And I'm like, "Okay, that's great. I'm glad you like them." And then I go my way. So he's a music aficionado in terms of listening to different groups and styles and themes. I'm the movie person.
I was going to say.
I'm the movie person. Now he loves movies too, and I like music too.
We just bought a new TV about a month ago.
Yeah.
Big 65-inch TV.
Ooh, okay.
So yeah,
Something
we're
worthy of
uptown.
us watching.
There we go. Hey, yeah, having a good TV so you can sit on the other side of the house and watch it. It's
Pretty
great.
much.
You know?
It's awesome. It's really awesome. We're like, you can see their pores now. It's not that I want to, but I can if I want to. But it's like,
Wow, I can count his chin hairs.
that's right. But yeah. Anything else you want to share about?
Just don't be so serious about yourself.
Yeah. Sense of humor. Good. Sense of humor. Big time sense of humor. Oh my gosh. I'll share a really funny story what happened to us. And this is a great illustration of how he can just sometimes say the best thing at the right time. And it may not be that funny, but when you're there in the moment, it's just like an inside joke.
Yeah.
We were on vacation in Florida. We were going to the Kennedy Space Center, and we rented a car. And this was back when the GPS tracking was brand new, you know, tracking how to get there and get directions.
You had to have TomTom.
I think it was
It was a Tom.
I think it was a
Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah, work worth a damn.
He's getting ahead of me here. Okay.
She's like, it's my punchline.
Well, anyway, we're traveling down, and it was not working, as he said. He was not working. And he got really frustrated, and he threw it in the back seat. And I'm laughing. I'm like, okay, we know the way. It's a straight shot there. You know, it's no brainer, no big deal. And he sat there for a few miles, and he's like, fine. And he reaches back there, and he's like, I'm not going to lose to this machine. So he starts programming it, and he resets it. And I'm driving along. I'm driving, and I'm like looking at
Every
it.
3 miles, there's a toll.
Yeah,
to
well,
pay
that's
more.
yeah. He was gritching
I
about
hate it.
he was
The
gritching
sun
about that,
pass.
and I he got real quiet, and I was like, what's going on? What's going on? And he's just sat there for the longest time. The comedic timing was just brilliant. He sat there and he goes, "It says we're in Ohio." I don't know why it just struck me as I was laughing so hard, tears were coming down my face. I couldn't see the drive.
Robbie couldn't drive anymore.
I couldn't drive anymore. I was like, oh my gosh, quit.
I hit my hand on the steering wheel just in
Yeah,
case.
it was so funny. And then he does a thing. It's a visual thing, but every time the toll roads, he was a little crotchety about all the toll roads, and he does this thing. He's like, look, there's no toll. He's like, every 3 miles there's a toll road, and there it is. and it just became kind of a running gag with us the whole way out there. And to this day, like I say, those are funny stories that we can tell. And to basic stranger, they're like, okay, that's kind of funny. But
Yeah.
just his delivery sometimes on how he'll say something just slays me. Just slays me. And I just and then he'll get tickled and he'll start laughing. And then I'll laugh.
When she laughs, I laugh.
And then I start laughing at him. And so you just get going and you can't quit.
A shared joy.
It is. It's just don't take yourself seriously. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, is it really worth it? You know, yeah, really, you know.
Yeah, you got to be right, but you got to be mad because you're right. I'd rather not be mad and be wrong. So,
There you go.
or at least not have the issue settled.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, I know I have a lot of points. I want to go through them real quick.
Okay.
But you have a lot less than me. So, you
It was mostly just the big stuff that I kind of want to take.
Yeah.
Like for our marriage too. Like I really want to take these podcasts to like take what you have and then like, maybe it'll help us. Yeah. I just really wanted to take communication. We actually said that in our podcast, the first episode. We said that was one of the big things for us because it's just, without it, you literally crash and burn.
Absolutely.
And, learning and growing together and separately, like that's another big thing. And, I see so many similarities between you guys and us. Like Robbie, you and Rob are just like the same person.
We established that.
That's no secret. We already got that. Yeah.
And I'm just, I'm a little bit like Shane. I'm more kind of reserved and like I've literally just been sitting here and just listening. Yeah. Hello. And it's, And then pick your battles is another big one because I'm the type of person, I'm really sassy. I love to get sassy in a fight.
Oh, yeah.
And
Sassy.
and whenever he like says, "Oh, I'm right about this," I'm like, "Well, let's see here. Go Google it." Or
And it's usually right.
and it's usually you. And I just like to give my piece, and that's it. But
You need to be heard.
Oh yeah,
That's the thing is when you have somebody that's quiet in the relationship, somebody that's a little bit more verbose.
yeah.
It's important. Again, goes back to that respect. Honor them, and that you know what, you have a right to, even though you're not as verbal or maybe as gregarious as some of us are.
Yeah.
It's okay. You have a right to your opinion, and your opinion needs to be respected.
We didn't realize the machines like play chess. We got 1 minute. And then it's my turn. So, you go way over on your minute.
Right.
So going through here, actually, the first thing I decided to circle was I just wrote family. Because neither one of you guys have kids, but for you, taking care of your mom was seemed like it was such a big deal for you. Now, Shane, we didn't talk about your family at all. When you guys got married, were either one of your parents still around?
Both my parents were living back then. They're not alive now, but they both came to our wedding.
Yeah.
In fact, I think my sisters came as well to my wedding.
Okay.
But
You had a table of
followed a table of relatives there.
Okay. And then, so the reason I wanted to make sure I circled family is to make sure we come back to it. But so as far as boundaries, because that's something that we've had to figure out in our marriage, was boundaries with family on both sides of ours. What kind of, what good value can you give us for making boundaries with family?
Give me an example of, like, for example.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe an overreaching parent who wants to have way too much to do with your marriage, or maybe it is maybe your parents being too much in your life where you need space, anything like that. If you guys have anything to share like that, if not, that's okay too.
I don't really know. I think just from off the cuff, I would say if you have, for example, somebody that's kind of interfering with your relationship, I would definitely not have a conversation at that time, like, because you're going to be irritated.
Right.
It's going to get emotional.
Right.
But have a very calm, neutral type of a situation where you can sit down with that person and say, look, I love you no matter what. This is not about you. This is about you helping support my marriage or helping support my relationship. And our relationship doesn't need, we appreciate all the help. And it's also like, I love you, but kind of things, everything before the but.
We don't want your unworded advice.
But out.
Yeah. I didn't pay for your advice.
Yeah.
So I can't return it. So don't give it to me.
It's a sticky wicket, to be sure. It's so individual because everybody's so different, and relationships are different.
Yeah.
Because people's dynamics with their parents are going to be all over the map. So it's hard to kind of generalize. If anything, he's taught me, don't just generalize because everybody's different. Right. Because you see, he teaches. I learn. I would definitely just have a kind of a candid come to Jesus meeting with him and just say, look, we really love your support and all that, but let's figure out an alternative.
Right.
Because if you take something away, you need to replace it with something
in charge of this. And
your
marriage vow says forsaking all others. It means that she or he comes first above everybody else.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, and it's also it's not that you want to eradicate any kind of support or interaction with family. It's just that they need to understand where you are, and they don't understand that if you don't communicate it to them.
Yeah.
And doing it in a very kind of calm and tell them what they can do, because obviously they're there because they want to help. They want to support you. They want to be there for you.
Yeah.
But I'd say, you can support us by doing this instead.
Yeah, we really haven't had that problem. We didn't have
Yeah.
that problem,
Okay.
which is good for
Yeah.
us.
That's good to hear. It's good to hear.
Being older, that probably helped as well to some.
I imagine so, because once again, you guys got married when you were how old?
She was 41. I think it was 49.
Okay. Yeah, you guys probably had all that worked out probably in your first marriage.
41, I think.
Yeah, I was 41. And you were
About 48, 49.
48, yeah.
Okay. That's pretty good. Cool. So going down, I'll just go through these. And at peace, being at peace with yourself
Yes.
in your marriage, like who you are personally. And then also seeing the beauty inside of your partner, obviously, is a big deal. Real life communication. So whether that's through the micro mannerisms that each other has, he doesn't really want to go to certain things that you want to go to, and so
And she doesn't take offense either.
yeah, and that's exactly
Because a lot of people were like, you don't love me if you go come and hold my hand. And
Yeah, get out of
support
here.
Me. It's like, no.
Actually, you want some time on your own. You just don't realize it.
There you go.
So yeah, how about you go do that real fun
And
thing?
that
you
goes
like?
back to that, your time.
Yeah.
Take time for yourself.
I just promised to go to everything when she gets it made. It's going to be going at the Winchester Drive-In Theater. The movie that she's
Been there yet?
No.
No.
The rodeo theater.
The rodeo. Okay, the rodeo.
The premiere for this movie.
Yeah, it's down like
Oh, okay.
Cowtown, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, will you go to the premiere with me? He goes, I'll be there. I'll support you. He likes to throw it. It's my duty. I'm like, we quit it with that.
It is kind of duties. So.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're not wrong. But that also ties into really respecting each other.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and then I have circling back to allow yourself to be different, grow together, but also grow independently of each other. So, which is actually probably a really good thing to stay attractive to your spouse too. Is if you're working on yourself, that's a really attractive thing.
It is.
It's really attractive.
Yeah.
Every now and then, I don't like working out. So I was in the Army for 6 years. Did not like doing PT.
What was your MOS?
31 Bravo. So I was in the
I
military.
mean, 62 Charlie.
What is that?
Crane operator.
Okay, cool. Everybody knows what 31 Bravo is because no one likes us. But crane operator. What's 31? It's a military police.
A what?
Military police.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. So
You can kick butt.
it's weird when you're a private and you have so much authority. You're just like, what do I do with this?
Yeah,
You know?
right?
Jiu-jitsu,
Did some fun stuff.
Krav Maga.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they definitely teach Krav Maga. No.
Yeah. No.
But I don't. So I don't like working out. But she seems to actually enjoy it. So she'll be in the living room like doing squats or like planks or something like that.
And you
I
feel
find
guilty.
well, no, I do feel guilty because it actually makes me want to push myself a little more. It challenges me, but at the same time, I'm so attracted to her improving herself
Yeah.
without even being like, "Hey, Rob, come do this with me." She's like, "No, I'm going to take some independence
Exactly.
and do my own thing."
Well, I'll add, I'm a mom now, and I have to carry a 20-pound toddler.
There you go.
Everywhere.
There's your weight training
so
right
I
there.
want to get
It's a lot.
stronger for my kids. So that's where that's at. That's where my motivation
Is that where it's at? Okay.
Pretty much.
I didn't know that. And then another thing that she actually is growing on independently is her own actual independence because we got married and she came from her mom's house to being living with me. And so
I couldn't even order a pizza on the phone. My anxiety was so bad. And it was so funny because just the other day, I'm going to Disney next month and I had to make a call. And
by herself.
It
That's not true.
literally, I called
She went by
her
herself
all
last time. She's
I
going with us.
went by myself last year, which was another big thing.
You let
I
me
was
know when
like,
you go. I will
Right.
go with you.
Okay.
Yeah, next Disney trip with Robin.
Okay, yeah, let's
Call me.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
He's kind of like, yeah, I'll go with you.
That's me. I don't actually
I
care.
love-
I'll go, but now I'm spending money on me going when I could spend money on just her going.
And I've never been to Universal.
You're not
before,
sitting
so
there.
that's,
You've never been to Universal?
no.
We just went in 2022. Oh, honey.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Well,
Hogwarts.
they're doing They're making Epic Universe, and I really want to go whenever that's finished.
So yeah, we've got some time.
Homemade plans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that. That would be awesome.
That's awesome. But yeah, I'm becoming a big girl, and I'm doing phone calls by myself, and I'm just doing like big adult things, and it's like it seems so little to other people, but to
No,
me,
it's
I'm like,
huge.
oh my gosh,
It's huge
I
to
did
you.
that by myself.
That's huge. I mean, how long have you guys been married?
We've been
Going on
eight years.
Going.
But I mean, again, it's that block of time. Think where you were 8 years ago,
Right.
and think where you
Yeah.
are now.
Yeah.
Look what you've done.
Yeah.
Look how you've grown and evolved, and the things that you've increased your mom having a beautiful baby. I mean, it's like it's like,
Yeah.
look at the stuff you've done. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Where are you going to go yet?
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's one thing I remember telling my mom, in those conversations. I said, "Well, shoot." I was like, "Well, I'm just perplexed." And she's like, and she'll come and she said, "What?" I said, "Well, you're going to be gone, and I'm like 40, and I've got my life to live. There's going to be like maybe 20, 30, 40 years, God willing, however long I have left of my life, and I won't be able to call you and talk about it every day.
Yeah.
That's just going to suck."
Yeah.
And it has, because she never met him.
Oh, wow.
And so there's that. But I think, gee, how many cool things, how long are we going to spend in heaven talking about everything?
Right.
And she'll be like, I know, I was watching the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm caught up. Trust me.
Yeah, she said, I'm caught up. I'm good.
Like I've seen the most recent episode of Robbie and Shane.
But yeah, that's the thing, is that you don't realize just the stuff that happens in 8 years,
Right.
in 10 years, in 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, if you just look at the world around you, look where we are today.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, back when they did transplants, when they first started them here, and I was there in the midst of all that. And I remember that. I remember when things happened here locally, historically. It's like, wow, and there's generations now coming up that have no clue about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just that part of growing up, it's like I say, when I see people and they have kids that are like, 5 and 10, I'm like, no, those were infants when I saw the class. What happened?
Right.
I haven't changed a bit. I'm still the same. No. My body tells me every day, no, you're not 20.
And we're going to go on cruises.
Yes, and we're going to be taking a cruise. Yes, that's going to be our
I'm
new.
scared of going on a cruise. Have you guys been before?
Cruise.
You're scared to go on a cruise? Well, you're
I'm
apprehensive.
my biggest fear in the world is drowning. That's actually my number one fear. He
doesn't swim.
I can swim, not very well.
He doesn't
Yeah, on my back, I got this. You know?
This is just another example of how much he loves me.
Yeah.
I dragged this poor man. We went to Hawaii for honeymoon, and I dragged this poor soul into doing snorkeling.
Oh my goodness.
A blast though, isn't it? It's a blast.
We went to probably the worst place. It had rocks. There was nothing there. And he's like,
Like this far below the water.
It was horrible. It was a bad experience, and we laugh about it now because I'm like, honey, I will never ask you to do that ever again. You were so, and he was a trooper. He tried. God love him, he tried.
If you're gonna go snorkeling again, we got to shoot a wedding in Ocho Rios, Jamaica.
Yeah.
And that was the best. We love snorkeling. That was the best snorkeling. Like just this huge reef, and it was just such a big deal. If you ever gonna try again, go there so you can actually fall in love with it, because that's what it should be.
My mother always said, everybody that drowns knew how to swim. It's
They were in the water.
Hey, that's
people that don't know how to swim, don't drown. It's so save your life and don't get in the water.
Actually, it's going to be an interesting trip. We've got my cousin and her sister. When we're imagine me, a twin, two of us. Okay, if you go,
It's all like a blast.
go on my TikTok, you'll see. But yeah, we're calling it the Cousinado Christmas Cruise, and we're going to be going in early December this year, and it's going to be him and me and her sister and another lady, and we're just going to have a party. We're just going to have the best time.
Have you guys ever had trouble dating each other? Like, you've been married for 18 years. Like, have you guys always been consistently dating each other like that, or is there ever been like a time where you just didn't go and do anything together, or were you guys just best friends the entire time? Because you guys really just seem like freaking best friends now.
We've always had fun times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny because we went to Houston for some medical stuff for him, and we were dating at the time, and I think we just fit together from the get-go, from day one.
Because the nurse thought you were my wife.
Yeah.
So
I told him, I was like, look, they got me down as your wife. Yeah, we thought that was so fun.
And you weren't even married yet.
No,
that's awesome.
No, I don't even know if you said the L word yet. Did you say the L word by that time?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
There was that City Bites.
Yeah, I remember. See, he can remember where it was when he first said he loved me. And, I got to tell you a really funny engagement story. We were dating, and it was going on 6 months, and it was getting pretty serious. We'd said the L word and everything, so we knew we loved each other. And we just, like I say, we just fast-tracked it, and it was just so natural, and I was never, ever nervous. That was the one thing. I always had a peace with him. I always felt, he's a great guy, and he loves me, and I love him, and this is awesome. I never had any anxiety like, is this the right one? I never, ever, at any time. And so I'm at work one day, this is in August, And
I pull a shell in. So
yeah, you did.
You did what?
He pulled a Sheldon.
Oh, okay.
He calls me at work and he says, what's the address there where you work at? And I was like, well, you know where I work. And he says, no, if I'm going to mail you a card, what's the physical address there? And I'm like, all right. And I gave it to him and he hung up.
That's real suspicious.
Yeah.
Shane.
And fine.
yeah, it was really on the slide. It was overt.
He was very subtle.
You didn't have Google Maps back then.
No, you didn't.
So
No.
you had to do
so
it the hard way.
So he said, well, he didn't know the actual address. He needed the address. And I was like, okay. So 5 minutes later, he calls back and he says, what ring size do you wear?
You're so smooth.
I know.
I mean, the level of smooth this man is 100. That's
I hung up.
That's it. That's it.
I hung up, and the girls at work were like, "Girl, he's gonna propose to you tonight." Like, sure enough, like an hour later, here comes some flowers with a very sweet note, and then he showed up that night at my house, and it was just like,
And the hurricane was going on.
yeah, Katrina was going on.
Oh no.
And it was just so he was
He
adorable.
was here, I guess, New Orleans.
He was so adorable because he was so nervous, and I'm like, just go ahead, just come on, let's just get it out.
Wait, did you tell him that?
Yeah.
You're like, I know it's coming. Just do it.
I did.
That's awesome.
I did. And it was because he was so sweet. And he was hemming and hawing around and just, and I was like, will you please, before you explode, just get it out of your
My
system.
dad to help me on that.
Yeah. But it was very sweet, very romantic. And like I say, we were going to go to Cancun, but like I say, Katrina hit.
Yeah.
Well, that's out. So darn it, we had to go to Hawaii. Shoot. So we ended up going there. But yeah, it was
Honolulu was pretty fun.
a great place.
I haven't got to go.
Once. Go there once. After that, you don't need to go back again.
It's
really?
well for me. The flight over there is so. I mean, you're flying for like 3 days to get over there. For me,
That's what it feels like.
because it's
7 hours.
yeah, but it's just like you're jumping the whole time vortex
So like 6
continuum is you're jumping all these time zones, and I remember the welcome breakfast we went to the first morning was like you wake up and you go to bed and you sleep the sleep of the dead, and you wake up and you're like, oh boy, let's get up, and it's like 3 a.m. because in your body is telling you it's like 9 a.m. But it's in reality, and that's time. And it's so funny because you go out and you're like walking around, and there's like nobody around. And then you're walking down the street, and then you see these other people that are walking around, like, you just get here too. It's like
Oh, man.
we're all adjusting to the time zone.
It's obvious to tell who got on the
You
island.
could tell who just got on the island, so it was kind of funny. But yeah, it was a beautiful place, lovely place, and it's just
But
was
it's a small island.
It's-
Because
yeah.
Oahu is not that big.
yeah, and beautiful people, wonderful time. We had a great time, and like I said, I've been there, done that, and if I'm going to get on a plane for 8 hours, I'm going to Europe. Sorry, just or to Disney.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, there's some really cheap flights. What did we look at? Was it $300 round trip we saw not long ago to Dublin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Round trip. I was like, you want to just take a weekend trip to Dublin, Ireland? We'll be in the air long and we'll be on the ground.
I was going to say, yeah, you won't be there long, but yeah, that would be, there's all kinds of, I mean, we love Europe. That's kind of our thing. Disney, Universal is my, like, go back place.
Yeah.
People have that. People have their favorite vacation places, and some of them get timeshares and all that, but
We've been going back to Seattle next month.
no.
We've been there like twice so far to Europe, so we want to go back again.
Yeah.
Because we want to go to Rome this next time.
Yeah. Italy jumped it. And it's so hilarious because we're planners. That's the other thing. Find the things that you like to do together. And it can be weird things. It's not the typical, we like movies and concerts and all. It doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
It can be weird, we have weird, quirky things that we love doing together. And it's just what works for us. We love planning things. We love planning a trip. And it's so funny because we'll be thinking about a trip. We're like, okay, let's go to Europe. Okay, what do we want to do? We start planning our itinerary and we're like, well, do you want to do this or do you want to do that? Well, I want to do this. Well, okay, and then you start kind of moving the pieces around, and we get the Excel spreadsheet out, and there he goes, and he's off, and we're putting things on there, figuring out, okay, how many days is that? And we want to do this. It's hilarious, but it's like a hobby. It's like a fun thing. It's weird, but it's just our thing. It's what we like to do. And
It's been all little.
When you guys are real quick, when you guys are in Europe, do you guys hostel hop or where do you guys stay?
We did some.
we did a combination.
Fees and some hotels.
Yeah, we did a combination. We did a Airbnb in Paris, and then we did a hotel in London and Amsterdam and Southampton. Did a hotel. That was a hotel. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So it just depends.
We rented a place in Bayou, but we didn't spend the night there. Remember, we had to rent a hotel, and we wound up getting the train back.
Oh yeah, in Bayou. You know, because trains were on strike, and we were afraid we couldn't get back. So But yeah, it's a blast. We love it. It's fun to go some places like that. And they, like I say, that's our place that we like to go check out and go. And then we've talked about also dialing it back after he retires and doing a lot of local travel around the country here. There's a lot of places here in this country to go see.
Right.
Yeah. Like I
We
remember.
want to go see the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That's a new thing, right?
That's kind of a thing. It's let's just go to Vegas and go see a show at the Sphere and come back.
Sure.
Just like that. We want to go do
That's
that.
a 2-hour plane ride.
Oh yeah,
Right on.
nonstop. You just could do that. So yeah, and sometimes you'll see some. Let's go do this, and a lot of times it's just talk, and I have to be careful with him because he'll take me literally because he's kind of Sheldon-ish.
No, I get that though. Like we really connect there then because I'm the kind of person I don't just talk on anything. If you mention to me like, hey, what do you think about like starting this new business? Next thing you know, I've got the LLC covered. I've got everything taken care of. It's got to happen. I don't talk.
That's him.
Bobby Williams, do it. Don't just talk about it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's about. That's the other thing is that we support each other on whatever. It's kind of like with this acting thing. I've been like, "Roar," and he has done nothing but support me.
Yeah.
And be my biggest fan and my cheerleader. And that's so imperative in a relationship when you support each other.
Yeah.
No matter if that's that person's dream or just something fun they're doing or whatever, a hobby, a sport, whatever that might be, if you can support them, that's so priceless because he's always there. About like, he says, and his thing is, I always say, what do you think? And you say,
Just as long as you're having fun. That's it.
that's right. And that's what he does. And that's what he means every bit of it.
Whether it goes somewhere or not, as long as you're having a good time with it, that's all he cares.
Exactly. So like I say, you never know what comes down your path and stuff will happen.
Because she's talented and she will make it big one day.
Stop it.
Well, I mean, people have made it big way later in life, right?
Yeah.
I'm at this point in my life, I'm like, you know what?
Well, she doesn't look her age. She looks about.
Shush, 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 shush.
Robbie, I'm so scared to ask how old you are because I'm betting he's right.
I don't think you look your age.
Well, I'm just gonna do some simple math.
Well,
you got married when you were 41. You've been married for 18 years. Robbie, are you 69 years old, or did I math that wrong? Okay.
I would love to be that.
I was like, there's no way you're 69.
Okay. Here's the thing: is that there's an old saying that a woman who will tell you her age will tell you anything. Just saying that. But let's start with you first.
59.
I am 60. How old am I? I think I'm 67. Yeah.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm working good. And my job keeps me young because it taught to think all day long.
Yeah.
My job.
Plus, he's out of it.
It keeps my brain active and
You still have some color in your hair. Mm-hmm. And you're 67.
He still has hair.
Yeah, right. Look at mine, man. I'm not even 30. Like, it's running away from my face. What are you doing? How are you doing this?
Genetic.
I guess.
His dad had a full head of hair. So
Oh, really? No, my dad's straight bald.
Yeah.
My dad's completely bald.
just get ready, bud.
I know. He looks good. He has a really good shaped head to be bald. So there's some people you're like,
there are toupees out there for a man like you.
There's hair. There's hair on.
for a man like me, Shane, you now. Oh, you've hurt me.
It's cold, man.
But guys do that. You don't say nice things. You make fun of them.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, you think there's something going wrong, right? Yeah. But okay, so you're 67.
Yes.
You said you were 4 years.
I just had
I'm
a
about
big,
7 years older than here.
a big birthday. I just had a big birthday.
Oh, about 7 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So you're 51.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
That's you got it.
Oh,
I love it. That math is good.
I'm really bad at math, and you're welcome
Well,
for
I'm
that.
getting to that point in my life where I'm downplaying my birthdays now. The more I have, the more I'm like, it's just another day. Let's just slide that on.
Yeah.
Let's go next.
You know, my mom just told me she was 54.
Really?
Yeah.
Did that bother you?
No, it surprised me because she definitely doesn't act her age. She acts like a teenager.
And that's another thing is don't subscribe to the stereotype age bracket thing. I know a lot. It's like when I'll start rambling off history about stuff we'll be talking about. Like I was telling some people the other night about the screw in the hotel and the history and all that, and they're like, wow, I'm just like a walking Wikipedia around here. But I've told him, I was like, we don't act our age.
Yeah.
A lot of it is up here.
Well, I think it's one of the reasons we connect so well because you both act quite young. Like, you're very much an extrovert. You're probably, I imagine you're an introvert. You're a lot more quiet, but neither one of you guys actually act.
Get me drunk and you'll see an extrovert. Okay.
Okay. All right.
I got a great when he has a little too much drink, which it's been a long time. We really don't drink anymore at all.
I have a beer like once a week.
Yeah, but it's just kind
I
of
feel pretty good after that one.
it's a health thing more now. It's a health thing more for me. But do you remember the movie Up? Yeah, of course. Okay. You remember Doug, the dog? No. When he has a little too much, he turns into Doug.
That sounds fun.
Hello. My name is Shane, and I love you.
Oh wait, are you a very affectionate person when you're intoxicated?
Yeah.
Okay, that's me too. I'm very affectionate, but go ahead.
Okay, so I'll just tell this. I'll just
Delve it. Come on.
I'll just
I
tell
don't get
this
drunk
one
much.
instant. Okay, so this will explain the whole thing.
We're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Now I can't even say it because
See, I need to do that. That's my to-do thing. I've never done that.
You never play D&D?
I need
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
I've heard that, and I'm on in on.
I don't think you would have an issue getting past because the biggest issue with D&D. He's very interested. He's planning he's planning our next campaign. We're gonna play at this table right here and record it and everything. It's kind of the idea.
Okay. I'm in.
But
I don't know what I'm doing.
yeah, we'll talk. No, the thing about D&D is you have to get over yourself, right? That you can't take yourself too seriously thing. There's pretty much almost every person who's never played D&D that I played D&D with for the first time. They are.
put down, baby.
I don't know.
I get excited.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, thanks. I'm keeping
But
it.
they have trouble getting into the role play aspect and just getting over themselves because they take themselves way too seriously. And you just break free, have fun, and enjoy the people you're with. And a few drinks doesn't help.
Yeah.
Or doesn't hurt. Go ahead. Ed. Go ahead.
Well, we were playing D&D one night, and I was pregnant with Isaac, and I was laying on the couch because I didn't feel good, and he just gets like flat out drunk, and I don't get drunk. Just comes over and he's like, "Are you mad at me? I'm so drunk. How are you mad?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not mad. I don't feel good."
I'm that drunk person who can't stop telling you how drunk he is, but I don't get drunk much. And so that's the reason why I was just like, whoa, I'm so drunk. And I have to tell everybody and let them know. But
Because they wouldn't know otherwise.
I couldn't play D&D at that point. I was so intoxicated that I couldn't focus on anything besides the fact that I was so intoxicated.
he's also my ADHD little golden retriever baby, and it's just whenever he gets drunk, his ADHD gets so bad.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And he just if I gotta keep him those little backpack harnesses, I gotta have one for him and one for Isaac because it's I can't keep track of both of them at the same time.
Goodness gracious.
I love it.
But
Yeah.
okay, cool. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. We don't have to leave. We can keep hanging out.
All right.
But thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Shane, for hanging out with us.
We appreciate you having us. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to do great together in the future.
Well, I appreciate that. We really value marriage. And like I said earlier, marriage is really a weird thing because we're one of the very few species of animals that will knowingly on purpose commit to someone else and put ourselves second, right? And so I think it's really valuable to explore it in different cultures, different aspects. Something I want to do with this podcast is I want to talk to people of all different walks of life. I want to have like same-sex couples on to talk about marriage. I want to have like different religious couples on, and I want to see what everybody thinks about marriage and what advice you can get from everywhere. Because I'm a firm believer that once again, even if you disagree with somebody, you will find something valuable from pretty much almost everyone.
Absolutely.
So-
And that's the thing is honor each other in every respect each other, communicate, sense of humor. I think at the bottom, at the end of the day, just be able to laugh and don't take yourself so serious. Because yes, respect your vows and honor your partner, but geez, lighten up. It's you're not going to get out of this alive anyway.
Yeah, right.
At the end of the day, does it really matter?
From dust to dust.
And there's a lot of forgiveness sometimes. You got to forgive each other from time to time.
Might as well have some fun.
That's right. Absolutely, have a good.
Well, this was fun. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Okay.
Stay and watch the day grow old. I've been waiting for the moment.